Good morning and welcome to Live in a Greenhouse on YouTube. If you're new here, this channel is about my journey to design, build, and then live in the first greenhouse enclosed tiny home in the United States. Being the last Sunday of the month, today is the June walk around. On this small island in Northwest Washington State, summer brings a lot of community activities, but also the call to just slow down and watch the sailboats. While in the greenhouse, summer brings the challenge of dealing with the heat. It was sunny almost every day in June. With solar gain, for most of the day into evening, it was definitely warmer inside than outside. Like this morning when it was 62 outside, 69 inside the house, and between 75 and 79 in the greenhouse. On days like this, one of the best heat control methods is to bring cooler outside air inside the greenhouse down low so that it feeds the convection of the hot air out the ridge vents. Unfortunately, one of the mistakes during construction was to not put in the many tubes we had planned to bring cool air underground from outside the greenhouse to exhaust inside the greenhouse. Not having this makeup air has meant that I've had to leave open the doors on each end of the greenhouse until now. Finally got to a project that's been in planning for several months. Mike and Nate were back to fabricate and install 2 experimental 6-foot by 2-foot awning windows. The metal framing parts are specifically for greenhouse awning windows, but are intended as part of larger installations with the same sort of rack and pinion operation as the ridge vents. So Mike made this wooden frame for rigidity, and I selected temperature-controlled hinges that open and close automatically with the temperature rise and fall. So if you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends so YouTube will show it to more viewers. And come along today to see what else the heat has activated. Move several carts of horse manure to this area. The plan is to bring in about a yard of dirt and then mulch with straw until I can decide what to plant here. This area is the septic drain field. In the last few years, it has been a favorite place for mother deer to bed down with their fawns, so I've been leaving it natural for them. And there they are, right on cue. I placed these rocks here a few months ago, and I'm really pleased with the volunteer flowers, but both foxglove and rose campion are biennial, so I'll probably spread other seed here to get flowers next year. Just starting to open for the day. This time of year, the sun goes above the trees, so most of the greenhouse south side receives sun all day. Except the southwest corner receives shade from these trees in the afternoon for a few hours, and then full sun again until sunset. This year was one of the worst in memory for tree pollen coating everything. So after the last rain, I pressure washed the deck so there would be time for it to dry and I can do touch-ups over the summer. The deer decimated this hydrangea by knocking the top off and eating out the center. I saw a great idea on Lark's Garden, a senior gardening YouTube channel. I'm going to try. She put long branches in the cage like a dried branch arrangement so the deer couldn't get their heads in. These two sheds were here when I bought the property. Unfortunately, they were both in very rough shape. This one has been one of the major projects this month, finally getting the drywall and insulation out. Once I could see the framing, the damage is worse than expected. Yes, that window is about an inch out of level. I'll fix that along with the other problems. Without much rain in June, the tanks are less than half full, which is uncomfortably low heading into the dry season. One of the experimental 2 by 6 foot awning windows. Next, I need to make the screens. Each month before I film the walk around, I watch the prior month's walk around as a reminder of what happened since then. The change in the food garden is impressive. Peaches are turning orange, and this volunteer sunflower is about 8 feet tall and tied to the peach tree to stay upright. The peach tree is now about 12 feet. It was planted in October of 2022 as a 4-foot twig. The poor lotus is back to under the tree. It gets fresh water from the pool every few days. This window is the northwest corner, so it gets direct sun only near sunset. With water in the pool, I've turned on power to the fans on the third air-to-ground system that runs under the pool. Tomato are flowering nicely with few tomatoes starting. I had a real problem with powdery mildew in the greenhouse last year that I never caught up with, so this year I've been vigilant for any sign. Cucumber are susceptible to powdery mildew, so I tied them to this trellis and clipped lower tomato leaves to get them off the ground, and spraying with potassium bicarbonate to try to get ahead of it. The volunteer potato has really taken over this corner, and with insect infestation, I trimmed it back to give the lavage, radish, and kohlrabi a fighting chance. Plus, I dug up a few really nice red potatoes the other night for dinner. I planted succession crops here, but both lettuce have lasted much longer than expected. I think because this corner and end of this bed get a few hours of shade plus cooler air from the air-to-ground tubes. But it may be time to thin the lettuce for the beets to come in. a few more asparagus in pots to see if this spot is better for them. Leeks are starting to fatten. The carrots are starting to top the mulch. This is Thai basil. The shade line from the trees is about mid-bed, so these sunflowers get full sun all day. They had a bad infestation of something I think are ants. I tried diatomaceous earth to see if that helps. Genovese basil. More leeks. More leeks on this side. Leeks and bunching onions on the other side. Didn't get around to planting anything in the middle. The olive tree has lots of flowers, but this tree is still very young, so I don't hold out hope of actual fruit this year. The fennel has really come on during June, and the stems are noticeably fatter. I harvest peas almost every day, although one plant died back last week. Now harvesting both Purple Queen and Provider green beans. Watermelon are long enough to tie to the trellis. I look out to this area while working at my day job, so continuing to add flowers for more color. Added a lavender. I deadhead the pansies to extend the bloom, but I think it's starting to get too hot for them. Trimmed back the Raleigh's favorite, but the nasturtiums are starting to fill in with color. Portulaca has grown about 3 inches or more over the month. And the yellow dianthus have started blooming. I'm trying a few different companion plant combinations this year, such as basil with tomatoes in the food garden and calendula in the herb and ornamental garden as trap plant for pests such as aphids. The first Godicea have bloomed. But there's also another pest I didn't know what it was that was starting to cover the potato flowers, lettuce, sunflowers, and calendula stems and flowers. So another experiment is an order of ladybugs. I applied a second layer of straw this month. Since I'm not very good at just sitting and doing nothing, it was definitely a good idea to add these raised beds so that along with enjoying the view, I putter with arranging straw around the plants and monitoring the ladybugs. It'll hopefully capture breezes through the courtyard. And there you have it. The house design continues to work as well as I'd imagined it would. There's no place inside that doesn't have a view to the greenhouse. And when the living room, bedroom, and shower doors are open, the entire house is open to the greenhouse. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And come back next time for what it's like to live in a greenhouse during the dog days of summer.